If you look at the one-star reviews on Elements Divided, you'll see that 90% of them are complaints about the moderation. Is the moderation actually that bad? Well, not quite, and I'm going to be going over in detail how it works, from mute times down to how permanent ban appeals work. You see, Elements Divided uses an AI moderation system called Voice Patrol, and if you say anything that sounds very toxic, harmful, or a slur of any kind, then you will get temporarily muted. Here's where the first of many complaints arise. There are several instances where players claim to have been muted for nothing, even remembering what they were saying the exact moment they were muted. There is a very simple explanation for this. The mute takes a moment to kick in, sometimes even up to 2 minutes before it activates. At this point, many players forget what they said and moved on, which makes a temporary mute a surprise. But what if it does accidentally mute you? I've been playing this game for months before it even released, always talking, and I've only been wrongfully muted once. The fact is, you won't be muted if you don't say anything you should be muted for. If you cuss a lot, then maybe tune it down because the bot will be more likely to interpret that as harassment. But say you've been muted, what do? Wait. The temporary mute time is super lax if it's your first time being muted, because you'll only be muted for like 60 seconds. If you get muted later, then that 1 minute will change to 5, then to 1 hour, then 2, and all the way up to 12 hours. But let's be honest, if you get muted that many times, then maybe it's for a good reason. And that's it. The max amount of time Voice Patrol can mute you for is 12 hours. So how do people get permanently banned from voice chat or even playing online? In order to get permanently banned from voice chat, your logs would have to be checked by a game moderator, also called an NDA. The game moderators have access to everyone's voice logs, which sounds intimidating, but in reality, it's just every time you've said something that sounded toxic, unsafe, or offensive. These include all the things you've said to get muted for in the past, plus some minor things that you might have said, but weren't quite bad enough to warrant a temporary mute. If a moderator reads your logs and thinks, yeah, this person is pretty bad and shouldn't be talking to kids, then boom, no more vocal cord privileges. And online bans are similar, mostly involving people who use cheats and ruin the game for everyone. But how is evidence gathered for these situations? This is one of the areas where the player reports come into play. When you report a player through the report tool, it saves that report until their account becomes under review, and the NDA can see all the reports someone has ever had throughout their playtime, including what the report was for. Don't worry about being spam reported either, because it only counts 1 report per person. But what if you're on the other side of the ban? What can you do if you happen to be permanently banned from VC or online? Yes, the ban is permanent, but you could possibly have it removed by emailing bans@locomotiondevs.com. Now here's the part where people mess up, so you should pay attention. So many people assume that they are guaranteed to be unbanned if they send an email. I'm going to give you all a quick lesson. If you're asking someone for something, do not act as if it is rightfully yours. If you email them saying things like, unban me, I want to be unbanned, or I didn't do anything wrong, or even, I was randomly banned, your chances of being unbanned have just dropped dramatically. Keep in mind, those things are very common emails. And don't even think about pulling some BS like saying, that was my brother, he's not allowed to play VR anymore. Like, bro, they can hear your voice logs. It's extremely easy to see if it is another person that is saying or doing whatever you got banned for. A good email says that you are honestly sorry for what you did and won't do it again, or something like that. If you are unsure why you were banned, just ask why, and they could give you the exact reason why, and even send you the voice logs if you don't believe them, which happens more than you think. Now, after you email, if they reject your appeal, then it's still not the end. You could reappeal in a few months unless they say otherwise. So the ban is only permanent if you choose to not take accountability. There are a few reasons that would make your ban unappealable, but those are all deserved. So, then why are there so many one-star reviews talking about how bad the moderation is if it's so simple to avoid? Well, look at them yourself. Most of these have responses from the developer saying exactly why they were banned. It's like the reviews were community noted. The gist of the story is that the moderation team isn't strict unless you're just comparing it to other games that don't care enough to go over things like reports and voice logs. Not strict, but actually doing its job. Yes, there are some toxic people in the game, because there will always be some, but trust me when I say that the worst of the worst are usually taken out.